Loss of Heisman Trophy be damned. Reggie Bush is a Hall of Famer. The Chargers dodge an injury bullet. And while we wait to learn what's in Sean McVay's heart, what about the rest of the Rams? Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. So it's January 10th, 2023. We added a couple of new subscribers to the Angelino familia, and I appreciate every last one of you for getting on board. If you like the content we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yeah, comment. For Pete's sakes, I travel between here and parts unknown. I get lonely. I'm not going to the Spearmint Rhino in every town. So before we go through the news and notes from around LA, a look at the scoreboard. Denver put an end to the Lakers' 5-game winning streak with a 122-109 victory up in the snow. Russell Westbrook scored 25 for the Lakers. But the LA Kings overwhelmed Edmonton 6-3. Kevin Fiala scored twice. Meanwhile, today, the Mavericks are in town. They're going to play the Clippers. The Clippers are on a 6-game losing streak, and Paul George has already been ruled out. Yikes. Oh, one other note before we get to the stuff around LA. EA Sports has announced that they have decided to remove the touchdown CPR celebration in Madden 2023. You score a touchdown, your teammates try to revive each other in the end zone giving CPR. I wonder why they would do such a thing. Boggles the mind, doesn't it? Now, Reggie Bush, one of the greatest running backs in the history of college football, but a guy who also had his Heisman Trophy canceled, was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame on Monday. Reggie Bush, even though he played for USC 2 decades ago, he is right up there in Google and YouTube searches, whatever you want to see. Like, people always talk about Reggie Sanders, and they always play those old clips. They do the same damn thing for Reggie Bush. He was that dynamic. He won 2 national championships with the Trojans. The numbers were just astronomical. The man averaged more than 7 yards per carry as a collegiate, with 3,169 yards total and 42 touchdowns in 3 seasons. The only reason the total yards weren't even more significant was simply because those Trojan teams were absolutely loaded on both sides of the ball. What people say about Georgia now is what people said about USC back then. Bush is one of those players, because of that, who is beloved despite the cost that the program eventually had to pay for bringing him in. His Heisman was rescinded when it was discovered his family had been getting inappropriate benefits from an agent. Now, obviously, the College Football Hall of Fame and the Heisman people, those are 2 separate entities with 2 separate standards for election. The Hall of Fame, they're willing to be a little bit more lenient, considering that the modern rules of compensating athletes have changed. For Bush to get his Heisman back, though, the NCAA would have to reverse its penalties against Bush. And the NCAA has a habit of not going back and revisiting old cases. Now, those weren't the only issues, of course. USC basically turned its back on Bush for years because his scandal became their big problem. They lost a ton of scholarships. People were talking about giving USC the death penalty back then, much in the same way that SMU had to face the death penalty in the 1980s. The Trojans lost scholarships, they vacated victories. Only in 2020 did the school and Bush patch things up. But Bush, again, always revered by Trojans fans. Some got on me for neglecting to count his Heisman among the Heismans that USC has won, for example, which is fine by me. I totally see their point. And as for Bush, the love that he felt from Trojans fans was always reciprocated. Bush loved USC football so much, despite the fact that the school had shut him out, that he was urging the school to fire Clay Helton for years while he worked at Fox. So yeah, he still loves the program. And for that, I'm cool to see this happen. As for the current Trojans, wide receiver Gary Bryant Jr. has entered the transfer portal. Bryant redshirted last year, so the loss is Meh. The Chargers have appeared to dodge an injury bullet. Reports suggest wide receiver Mike Williams should be able to play Saturday night in the wild card round at Jacksonville. He appeared to injure his back Sunday in Denver. We originally thought it was his leg. Then he wound up getting an x-ray for his back because he was having trouble walking around. He needed assistance to get to the locker room. There was an MRI on Monday. No damage of any significance to the spine, which is a beautiful thing. But having said that, the Denver Broncos put up the most points against the Chargers since the Bolts allowed 37 to the Seattle Seahawks on October 23rd. Denver, buck naked last in scoring in the NFL. And now they're playing Jacksonville, which dropped 38 on the Chargers. Now, regarding Sunday, Brandon Staley was saying that the Bolts gave up too many big plays and indicated that that was on the secondary. The Broncos, for example, had 3 pass plays that went for over 50 yards. Asante Samuel gave up the longest completion of his career, about a 52-yard bomb. So yeah, you could argue that maybe it's an anomaly. Maybe it's something that will straighten itself out against Jacksonville. And I can concede that point. But my counterpoint is the Chargers allowed more than 200 yards rushing. And that's been a problem that they've had all year long. Rams coach Sean McVay told reporters Monday, quote, "I don't get the sense in the least bit I'm done coaching." The question that Sean McVay is trying to solve is, can he still do his job with the level of commitment that he has given it for years, or if he needs to step away for a year or two to recharge. He is under contract with the Rams until 2026, and he has been citing the unconditional support from the franchise, from the owner right on down. The 5-12 record, which is his first losing season with the Rams, is not part of the equation. It's simply the workload. Now, people can read into that stuff whatever they want. Me, I'm cool saying that he deserves to call his own shot. I've been a Rams fan since I was a kid, except for when they were in St. Louis, when I hated and despised everything about Georgia Frontiere. I saw the Rams coached with guys like Chuck Knox, Ray Malavasi, John Robinson, Rich Brooks, and then, of course, again, the team left for St. Louis, and I'll be damned, I will never look at that as a championship. Hell no. Never thought I would see the LA Rams win a Super Bowl. McVay got them to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. So yeah, this guy gets my respect. He can call his own shot. At least one Rams blogger is trying to link fired Arizona coach Cliff Kingsbury to the Rams. And while I have no inside dope, it would give me great pleasure to pop that bubble for you right now. It's not just whether or not Cliff Kingsbury could coach up the Cards to beat the Rams, because he couldn't do that on a regular basis. I think he beat them twice. It's not whether Kingsbury could convince his quarterback to put down the Nintendo Switch, which, by the way, he couldn't do that either. No, before Kingsbury got the Cardinals job, he was supposed to be the offensive coordinator for USC under Clay Helton. And if I'm trying to land an NFL job and my letters of recommendation include Clay Helton, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get a job with the LA Rams. I would be screwed. But jokes aside, if I were to go for a coach or an offensive coordinator, I would choose somebody who ran an offense that I couldn't stop. Wouldn't that make sense? The Rams could stop the Cardinals. There were lots of teams that were able to stop the Cardinals. Why does that make Cliff Kingsbury even remotely a decent hire? As for the rest of the Rams, Matthew Stafford, he's under contract through 2026. He reiterated his intent to play next year. Cooper Kupp said he is on track to play next year. Jalen Ramsey said he needs another shoulder surgery. Now, you might recall he had one of his shoulders repaired last offseason. Both shoulders were screwed up at the time. He described both procedures, or the one he wants this summer for the other shoulder, as not major. Left tackle Alaric Jackson missed the latter half of the year with a blood clot. You might remember that. He said he will know more on his football future in mid-February. And safety Russ Yeast is in stable condition up in a Seattle hospital with a chest contusion, which happened during Sunday's game. Like I was saying, the last thing the NFL wants is a second player collapsing on the field getting CPR. They don't want that. Pardon me. Yeast went to the hospital. He was going to go no matter what he said. He could have said he was in perfect health. They were putting his butt in the ambulance. There was no doubt about that. How do we know this? Because the first day it was labeled as a chest bruise, and now it has been since renamed a pulmonary contusion. Pulmonary, the heart. Translation, people are hyping this up. And it may be just for news value, or it may be a genuine concern for Mr. Yeast. Either way, Yeast was a 7th round pick, and he played in 15 games, so you could say he's part of the Rams' future. That game was meaningless. I'm cool with him spending a night getting his health back, absolutely. The Lakers' Anthony Davis is increasing the work in his rehab. They are adding aquatic workouts, things that will not put a lot of pressure on his injured foot. He has missed the last 13 games, but there is a sense that he could return in the next couple of weeks. Thomas Bryant has averaged 17 points per game playing in Davis's absence, and LeBron James has envisioned what the Lakers would look like if he, Anthony Davis, and Bryant were on the court simultaneously. And I'm guessing Davis feels the same way. Bryant is a natural center. Davis prefers playing power forward, and let's be real, given Davis's injury history, the more you keep that man out of the paint, the better. Small ball has been killing the Lakers in a number of ways also, so you want to at least have a couple of guys with a major height presence in there for the Lakers. I do get that Bryant isn't a skilled defender, but I would argue keeping Davis healthy and happy trumps a lot of other arguments that you and I could come up with. Trevor Bauer said he was told in a meeting with Dodgers officials prior to being put on designated for assignment. He said he met with Dodger officials and that, quote, they told me they wanted me to return and pitch for the team this year, unquote. A Dodgers official went off the record, said that no such desire from the Dodgers was expressed to Trevor Bauer. The Dodgers also signed catcher David Freitas to a minor league contract. By my count, the dude hasn't played a major league game since 2019. So, yeah, let's not expect much. I've mentioned repeatedly how I do not trust the foreign soccer press. And I bring that up for LAFC today. There is an article claiming Carlos Vela caused Gareth Bale to quit soccer. I didn't even bother to read the article because this is complete crap. I just want to say to whoever wrote that article, up yours. I'm not even an LAFC guy, and I know crap when I see it, okay? I take a lot of steps to try to call things straight down the middle. Gareth Bale was called every name in the book by the fans of Real Madrid and by the European press. Lazy, sleeps on the bench, doesn't play. The man was called a parasite. And by the way, some of those accusations about sleeping on the bench, absolutely true. Absolutely true. But now you're going to sit there and tell me that after all those slings and arrows with teams that are of worldwide international importance, that Carlos Vela was the guy who pushed him over the edge with LAFC. I mean, I love MLS. I love watching it. But I'm not stupid. Real Madrid, LAFC, way lower, even though they won the MLS Cup. You know it, I know it, we all know it. Carlos Vela is the guy who chased, get the absolute hell out of here with that. The most you could say about Carlos Vela is maybe the guy's a little passive aggressive, but somebody who's going to chase Gareth Bale out of professional soccer, get the hell out of here with that crap. Meanwhile, the Black and Gold have signed goalkeeper Eldin Javipovic from Everton. Javipovic is 38. He has not played regularly since 2017, so there is some risk here. And LAFC, obviously, with Maxime Crepeau breaking his leg in MLS Cup Finals, they need anyone to mind the net. It took a while for UCLA basketball to shake off a disastrous weekend in Vegas. Who among us hasn't had that, right? But the Bruins basketball team has climbed to number 7 in the latest AP rankings. UCLA has won 11 consecutive games. Meanwhile, last week alone, 16 teams in the top 25 lost. That included Arizona, which lost to Washington State. As a result, the Bruins leapfrogged over Arizona to become the highest ranked team in the Pac-12. So once again, UCLA is back up to number 7 in the national rankings. But you let me know what you think about Reggie Bush, or the Chargers defense, or all those questions that the Rams are going to have to answer over the course of the next couple of months. Hell, you tell me if you honestly think Carlos Vela chased Gareth Bale out of soccer. I still can't believe those words came out of some idiot's typewriter. But if you enjoyed this content about LA sports, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quian Corte El Queso production. Take care.